But you've got to help me, Woodford cried. I've got to have money, a chance to get out of the city without anyone knowing. I gave your firm my services for years, and now you've got to give me help. Listen to me, whoever you are, snapped Norse over the wire. I was bothered long enough with John Woodford when he was living. He was so inefficient, we'd have kicked him out long ago if we hadn't been sorry for him. But now that he's dead, you needn't think you can bother me in his name. Good night. The receiver clicked in Woodford's unbelieving ear. He stared at the instrument. So that was what they had really thought of him at the firm there, where he had always thought himself one of the most highly valued of employees. But there must be someone upon whom he could call for help. Someone he could convince that John Woodford was still living, someone who would be glad to think that he might be living. What about Willis Gran? Gran had been his closest friend next to Curtis Dawes. He had lent money more than once to Woodford in the past, and certainly should be willing to do so now. Hastily, Woodford called Gran's number. This time he was more careful in his approach when he heard the other's voice. Willis, I've got something to tell you that may sound incredible, but you've got to believe. Do you hear? He said. Who is this and what in the world are you talking about? Demanded Gran's startled voice. Willis, this is John Woodford. Do you hear, John Woodford? Everyone thinks I'm dead, but I'm not, and I've got to see you. What? Cried the other's voice over the telephone. Why, you must be drunk. I saw Woodford lying in his coffin myself, so I know he's dead. I tell you, it's not so. I'm not dead. Woodford almost screamed. I've got to get some money, though, to get away from here, and you must lend it to me. You always lent it to me before, and I need it now worse than ever I did. I've got to get away. So that's it, said Willis Gran, because I used to help Woodford out. You think you can get money from me by just calling me up and pretending that you're he. Why, Woodford himself was the biggest pest in the world with his constant borrowings. I felt almost relieved when he died. And now you try to make me believe that he's come back from the dead to pester me again. But he never died. I'm John Woodford, really, Woodford protested vainly. Sorry, old top, returned Gran's mocking voice. Next time pick a living person to impersonate, not a dead one. He hung up. John Woodford slowly replaced the receiver and made his way out to the street. The wind was blowing harder and now was bringing with it clouds of fine snow that stung against his face like sand. He shivered as he stumbled along the streets of dark shops, his body freezing as his mind was frozen. There was no one from whom he could get help, he saw. His paramount necessity was still to get out of the city, and to do that he must rely on himself. The icy blasts of the snow-laden wind penetrated through his thin coat.